We just don't like being wrong, do we? Okay, guys, now I'm going to put something up on the screen in a second that's probably going to terrify you. Here it comes. Okay, now look, I know that mathematics, or really this is just arithmetic, but people call it mathematics, really terrifies people. But this equation and similar things have been floating around Facebook recently. They do the rounds of the social media every so often. And the question is, can you work out the answer to that arithmetic problem? Apparently, we're told, about 73% of people get it wrong. To work it out, you have to know the rule. In calculations like this, multiplication and division take precedence over addition and subtraction. That means, simply put, that you carry out any multiplications or divisions before you carry out the additions and subtractions. So it works like this. Most people, though, around 73%, don't seem to know this rule. They simply carry out the calculations from left to right like this, and get a result of 320. Well, that's okay. It's an easy mistake to make if you've forgotten the rule or never learned it. The interesting part of this, though, is the reaction of many of those who get it wrong. Some insist that theirs is the correct way to do it. Okay, fair enough. They're wrong, but at least I can understand their position. Other arguments are somewhat more bizarre. Different people do things different ways. You can do it any way you want to. So, someone made a silly rule, so what? I'll do it however I want to. Rather than simply admit that they're wrong or that they didn't know the rule, they adopt a defensive posture. I didn't know that rule, so it can't be important anyway. No one's going to tell me how to do it. It's a free country. I'll do it my way. Well, folks, if you believe any one of those things, the world ain't gonna work. Arithmetical or mathematical anarchy is simply not an option. But there's a deeper point here. It demonstrates how difficult it is for people to admit that they're wrong once they've committed themselves to a position, even on such an apparently trivial issue such as this. Instead of saying, "Oh, I didn't know that, I see it now," people would rather defend the incorrect answer or adopt the attitude that it doesn't matter anyway, it's not important. If this is possible on an issue that people will have forgotten tomorrow, imagine how difficult it is for people to admit they've been mistaken on something that appears to be much more important issue. Religious beliefs, political opinions, scientific theories. Our politicians demonstrate this kind of attitude every day. They obstinately cling to an outmoded policy or a point of view today for no better reason than they held it yesterday. I guess the church does a similar thing. To admit that they might actually have been mistaken, it can't be done. And were they to do it, in fairness to them, the media and the public would bay for blood. People cling to religious or superstitious beliefs long after they are even remotely defensible. Pride and a lack of anything to replace the old view prevents people from changing their minds or admitting that they've made a mistake after all. As a society, we should applaud scientists, politicians, religious and other leaders, anyone who has the courage to stand up and admit, yes, I was wrong, I see it now. But before I finish, I just want to go back to that original arithmetic formula there. There it is. Now, in fairness to people who got that wrong, I'm going to let you off the hook a little bit here, because this is just an abstract string of symbols. It doesn't represent anything in the real world. In the real world, when we do arithmetic, it applies to real things, real objects, and I'm pretty sure that's the way they teach it in schools too. So, if I'd put say, dollar signs in the correct places in this formula, I'm willing to bet that many more of you would have got it right than did in the abstract version of this. I'm pretty sure that psychologists will have done experiments confirming or refuting that idea. If they haven't, then psychologists, get right onto it, okay? And please feel free to put my name on any paper that you publish.